up? It's your boy T-Bear. Her reaction today is Wrestling Wednesday. Now, it's very rare I check out a video from Wrestling with Andy as well too. And this one I thought was a cool one. Right after this video I did by John Boy Bebop, or Johnny you can say, talking about the pro wrestling freshman list. This one is quick successes, instant impact in WWE. A lot of folks, including the freshmen who we mentioned on there, has come, including folks who could have been in the list or in the previous list if they had a freshman class like XSL that have made instant success since their debut as well too. A good amount currently right now is Tiffany Stratton, who's our current WWE Women's Champion right now. Jacob Fatu, he's been doing his thing in the Indies and the mid major for a good while. He became an instant as well too, to hit him slowly become a fan favorite to the fans. He's not fully faced yet. He's tiered between tweener and slightly, and right now heel by association. You got the success of both Julia and Stephanie Vaca, who had a I guess you say a brief run on NXT, being already called to the main roster as well too. Same with Roxy, Ricky Saint, people, a lot of many other, and you got stuff in the past as well too with like Brock Lesnar, Bianca Belair, John Cena in a way, and many others though. So without further ado, let's check out some of the quick successes of wrestlers or superstars who had instant impact at WWE. Let's get it.
There's a saying that being an overnight success is something which takes years. After all, for as big as people like Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, or Ric Flair became in wrestling, they didn't get to that point without a long road of struggle. Sometimes, though, a performer really does manage to hit their stride early on and make it big in a short space of time. But who are the biggest examples of this in all of WWE? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be looking at right now, starting with Tiffany Stratton. Yes, post-rise of the Four Horsewomen, there have been a lot of big names who have risen to the top in the WWE's women's division. We're talking about people like Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky here. But all of these women did so after first grafting away in either Japan or the WWE developmental system for a time. When it comes to Tiffany Stratton, however, while she did have a stint in NXT, it was pretty short-lived overall.
If you think about it, she did have a short stint if you think about it. Like, she had a short stint. It took somebody from the main roster to get her out the title picture as well too. So yeah, if you think something to think about, she did have like a short stint in NXT before it comes to the main roster.
Her become women's champion only 2 years into her in-ring career. Obviously then, this was something of a meteoric rise for the Minnesota native, and it wouldn't be the only time she caught the attention of fans down in Florida either. Hell, it wouldn't be long after this that she had the first truly great match of her career with Becky Lynch. That's right, by the time 2024 was dawning, Tiffy time was already fast coming for the WWE main roster. It was really just a matter of when she'd debut, with this eventually happening in February of 2024. What would Stratton do after this? Well, become the breakout star of the SmackDown women's division. And the way she did this was by winning the Women's Money in the Bank contract later that year, and then successfully cash in on this contract on then WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax on January 3rd, 2025. Yes, after less than a year on the main roster, Tiffy had already climbed to the top of the mountain. And that's exactly where she remains at the time of this video's recording, still the reigning and defending champ. Of course, Tiffany Stratton isn't the only recent graduate of the NXT women's division who's managed to find a lot of success early in her career though. No, there's at least one other person this statement applies to. Our next subject as it happens, Roxanne Perez. Really, it's easy to forget that sometimes that Roxy is still only 23 years old because she's already one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE. And that's been clear ever since.
Because she has success early as well too. She was the last Ring of Honor champion before the defunct and revived by AEW. And she had her championship early in Booker T's coming reality of wrestling as well too. So there's that. And then she came as a babyface and got the quick champion as well too. Half because the situation with Manny, that's another story. So there's that. Right now she's a heel, and I call her Angry Elmo Roxy, but still, despite her alignment as well too. You can put it as well too though.
since her early days in NXT, where during the initial run of the 2.0 era, she's
You see why I call her Angry? It's why I call her Angry Elmo. Go back. When she has a mean face promos, go back. I'm trying to catch it right
early
now.
days in NXT, where during the
Like, does she like the Elmo gift when she just stares while I think it was Zoe, somebody talking to you? Yes, that's what she looked like.
initial run of the 2.0 era, she's quickly proven herself to be one of the best parts of the entire show. How would she show how good she was here? Well, by putting on show-stealing performances on the regular, with all this leading to her winning the NXT Women's title for the first time when she beat Mandy Rose for the honor on December 13th, 2022. But while this run was a short one,
I hope Mariah may become instant as well too. You know, I would love Jordan Grace to get the title win, to have her so she can have that before she goes with the main roster. I think she is. I wouldn't be mad if Mariah may be the one to take it from her.
it wouldn't be the only time
Frankie Lane, aka JC James, still can't believe he carried that damn title. But I guess
Perez held the gold down in developmental, and when she got it back for a second time, this time while she was playing the role of a heel, she'd go on to have a reign which was amongst the best that particular piece of hardware had ever seen. And recognizing that was the case, fans started to call for the Lorraine.
It sucks that her better reign was as a bad guy slash villain than as a hero. Because you know me, I hate that trope at folks. Both are better champions. Hills are better champions, and they are better long term. Faces are good for chase. I to this day hate that. I don't care how many ways you explain it. It gotta be a better way to make it basically be at the same level as a heel with kind of champions. It gotta be. No way.
Native to get her main roster run here. After all, it didn't matter who she was put in the ring with, she always killed it. So it should come as no surprise that when she eventually dropped her title to someone we'll get to in a moment, Raw would come calling for her. And that's where Roxanne is today, plying her craft on Monday nights. Sure, she might still be new to the main roster, but she's already showing she belongs there with her matches against the likes of Becky Lynch and Natalya. And with her having just started a storyline where she's been inducted into the Judgment Day, it looks like she's going to have a prominent role on the show going forward. Really, the only thing that could stop her at this point would be an unfortunate injury of some kind. Failing that, she's destined to be a megastar. And for her to be able to say that about herself at such an early stage in her career, when she hasn't even reached her mid-20s yet, well, that's quite an achievement by anyone's definition of the word. Where will she be in a year's time? Probably in possession of the Women's World Heavyweight title. And after that, who knows? Maybe she'll even get a WrestleMania main event before all is said and done. She certainly has plenty of supporters behind the scenes, what with Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and CM Punk all being vocal about their admiration for her. But let's move away from the women for a moment and over to the men instead, as it's there we find our next subject. He skipped NXT entirely.
I can still say that, because he's actually pretty much on Twitter right now, according to the SmackDownHotel.com. Still on try me as well too. But at the same time, yes. Oh man, but I cannot wait for the full freedom of his face turn. I cannot wait so I can fully say that and fully embrace him. Go free. I cannot wait.
And has broken out on the main roster in a big way in recent months. The one, the only, Jacob Fatu. Really, though, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who's been following the Samoan Werewolf's career prior to this that he'd become a fast success in WWE. After all, during his early days in Major League Wrestling, he proved himself to be an absolute phenomenon. And
I gotta say, that face turn, that's why I feel like he needs a face turn here too. Because same like MLW, face turn, he can bring out his full potential. Because a lot of people say that the reason why it's better heel because they bring their full potential to heel. No, not always the case. It's based on how they're booked. You know what I mean? If you book somebody as a babyface and let them be free at themselves, they'll be just as good as a heel. So there's that. And Jacob Fatu has proven it plenty of times. He proved it. He proved it on MLW because he was with Contra. All it is hell Contra, ha ha ha. All this. He after he lost the title and has a little quirk with his little bout with Contra, and he came back as a babyface, he was dropping some lovely promos. Everything, man, we got to know him as a personality was alike. The same with WWE. First came in as a heel as well too. He barely said anything as well too, other than "I love you, Solo." Now he's saying just about almost everything. While he's coming into this tweener on the verge of going to the face turn again. He's a good example of that. Face turns can work as well too. Some folks can have a breakout and speak on as well too. I mean, be honest, almost kind of like with Yokozuna in a way. Fortunately, it wasn't because the face turn was high as book and his weight got to it. Or Yokozuna kind of expanded his personality more when he had that face turn after he broke away from Camp Cornette. So same with Jacob Fatu, but more successful as well too. So yeah.
With him being part of the Anoa'i family via his father, the Tonga Kid, it was assumed that he was going to have a lot of interest from
Fun fact and Rikishi are twins themselves.
WWE anyway, as they were by that point on the hunt for every Polynesian wrestler they could find to add into the Bloodline story. What few could have expected, though, was just how quickly Jacob would break out upon debuting on SmackDown in June of 2024. So much so that within a matter of weeks, he'd have completely overshadowed Solo Sikoa, the leader of the Bloodline 2.0. That's right, while he might have been pegged to be the lackey for a while at least, Fatu's charisma and in-ring...
We broke out and did that little promo right there. That right there was like, yeah, we gotta, that's great, get this man a face run. I mean, him being just barely talking, I love you, Soul Guy, ain't gonna cut it.
Ring skill has seen him rise so much higher in an incredibly short space of time, with things currently at a point where he's now really the main character of what remains of the Bloodline in 2025, not Solo Sikoa. Yes, Jacob is already a one-time United States champion, with him holding on to that belt as of the time of this video's recording. And once he inevitably drops it, we don't imagine it'll be a long time before the Sacramento native gets an upgrade in the form of a world title. Seriously, it's not unrealistic to think that by the time 2026 is in full swing, Jacob Fatu could be calling himself either World Heavyweight Champion or WWE Champion. And if he does this, it might make him the fastest rising Samoan star in WWE since the days of Yokozuna.
I mentioned Yokozuna, and they say they compared him to that as far as fast rising.
If he doesn't become world champion so soon, though, the Samoan Werewolf has already had a meteoric rise anyway over an incredibly short period.
Facts.
But he's not the only person this statement could apply to who also has a claim to being a future face of WWE. No, on the other side of that equation, we have our next subject.
I'm so mad. I mean, I'm so irked in the way that he almost had a face turn. He was getting loved by the crowd, getting all verse being a tweener until he had to sell out and join Seth Rollins and Heyman. But outside kayfabe, I guess that's the way to help him break out to his own as well too. I want to root for this guy so bad. I thought we was going to get there, but they made him heel again. I guess they feel he's one of the ones that folks feel he's better as a heel. So whatever. So he's like solely on the hands of the heel fans, unfortunately. So yeah.
Braun Breaker. Yes, as the 2020s arrive, it's feeling more and more likely that there are two strong contenders for the next face of WWE after Cody Rhodes decides to hang up his boots, Jacob Fatu.
And a lot of people saying they can't wait for Jacob and Braun to cross path.
And Braun Breaker. Hell, it's not like Braun hasn't also risen to the top in very short order, as he only got his start as a wrestler in the WWE system in 2021. That said, as the son of Rick Steiner, there was little doubt even that early on that the Georgia native was going to have all the tools required to be a superstar. It was just a case of how quickly he was going to put it all together. And as it happens, very quickly was the answer to that question. Hell, during the early days of NXT 2.0, the place that Braun was first introduced to WWE fans, he'd become NXT champion before his rookie year was even over. And after that initial reign had come to a close, he'd get a second one, as well as a run as tag team champion. Obviously then, at the rate he was progressing, by the time 2024 came around, it was clear that Braun had outgrown the need for NXT. And this was why, only 4 years into his active career, he'd be called up to the main roster in February of 2024. What would he do once he arrived there? well, quickly get over with fans on account of his explosive offense, particularly his version of the spear, more of a missile than anything else, if truth be told.
Yeah, like that one he did, Carly. Like he flew like Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
And once it was clear just how over he was getting with audiences, the Steiner son would be given a ball to run with in the form of the Intercontinental Championship, a belt he'd actually hold on 2 separate occasions throughout the course of the year and into 2025. Has that been able to take his stock even higher? Absolutely, because as things stand at the time of this video's recording, Breakker has not long become a member of Paul Heyman's new Dangerous Alliance-style stable over on Raw, with him serving as the heavy there alongside Paul Lee, Seth Rollins, and Bronson Reed. Obviously then, at this point, it feels like only a matter of time until Braun breaks away from this group Dave Batista style.
Please. Oh, yes, please. Do as a Batista style, as a babyface, the thumbs down, please. Yes, please. I'm begging you, yes. Please have a Batista babyface one, please. I am begging you on this one. Oh, yes.
And goes on a huge babyface run.
Yes! Oh, he said it! He said it! Yes! Wrestler Andy, I love you sometimes. I'm sort of like, I love you for that. Yes, he said it. I don't want to hear it again. I just want to hear it again. Go back, say that one more time. Just one more time.
He'd actually hold on 2 separate occasions throughout the course of the year on Raw, with him serving as the heavy there alongside Paul Lee, Seth Rollins, and Bronson Reed. Obviously then, at this point, it feels like only a matter of time until Braun breaks away from this group Dave Batista style and goes on a huge babyface run.
Woo! That's music to my ears, and I can't wait for that to happen. I'm praying that happens. Not the way around with Seth, but I'm praying that happens with him, and he gets the Batista babyface runs, please. But better, of course. A lot of people saying that they're not as great, but still, yes, I hope that happens too.
Which will eventually see him no doubt win a world title. But it's not all about chasing world titles for people who have become fast stars in WWE. No, sometimes it's just about finding a groove in a mid-card role, as has been the case thus far with our next subjects, Penta and Rey Fenix.
Of course. Well, you can't be surprised. They're wrestling. They're damn near legends before coming to WWE. So of course. They're like just like AJ. They're kind of like they're on this. They're like the new era of AJ Styles in a way. You know, they already made a name for themselves elsewhere. So WWE is like, this is where where I belong the whole time. That's what that all is. Pretty much right there. So right there. They're definitely the new era of their AJ Styles of this as well too. Had a big success. So they will have, of course, mid card, of course, you know, because they. It's gonna be a while to hit the heavyweight, but I won't be surprised if they get there sooner. But yeah.
Yes, by the time these brothers joined the roster in early 2025, they'd already been big-name wrestlers all around the world.
Exactly.
But this is never a guarantee someone is going to be able to adapt to the WWE style once they join the promotion.
But they have.
So you can't assume anyone will become a star, even if they'd been so everywhere else. Luckily then, as things stand right now, it looks like Penta and Rey have been able to adapt to their new home extremely well, with it being the former who first showed up in the company on Raw in January of 2025.
And that's good that they have done that. And it's great they done that too. I feel like he could, and I feel like Penta could, in a way, take the title from Dominic, the IC title from Dominic. I can say that. I can definitely see that as well too. Phoenix definitely got a chance to take a title soon. I'm not sure which. I don't think the USA no time soon yet. I feel like he got a lot of people ahead for that because SmackDown roster is pretty stacked for that, big car wise as well too. But he's definitely gonna get it. He's definitely good. But I definitely can't wait. Whether cheer or force you boo him, I die boo him. But you may never know that they go attack. But they will get tag team champions as well soon. Together, they're going to get reunited soon though as a tag team, and they will go take the tag title from somebody. I can see that soon. But yeah, they're just because you know Julia and Steffi V definitely had a good definitely did good in their little. Had they run NXT because they needed to adjust to the WWE process. Same with Jordan Grace, who admitted that as well too. That she liked that she went to NXT to help her adjust. So no, I mean, so yeah.
He was established as a single star in the Intercontinental title division. His brother would arrive in March, though curiously over on the SmackDown brand instead. Why had WWE chosen to not go with the Lucha Brothers as a tag team here as they'd been everywhere else? Well, that's not clear exactly. It could be that they want to try them out as singles acts.
Yeah, try them on single first. Don't dump them in tag team too soon. No, that's just it's too predictable. This is what they doing here is pretty cool. They both got some good stories going on right too. Him possibly going to NXT, getting to the Intercontinental right now. Phoenix right now on the verge this Saturday. In the running for the North American title of NXT, but still the fact that he can kind of do both that and NXT, that's pretty good for him as well too. I think Penta would have been too good for NXT, to be honest, but I can see him getting some matches in NXT here and there just as I guess.
First instead. Whatever the reason though, each is getting over with crowds on account of their spectacular offense. Really, the only question left at this point is when they inevitably win some gold, will it be together or apart? And who knows?
Like I said, definitely him for Intercontinental, but I bet they're definitely not bound for tag team champs gold soon.
They decide to team up again, then they might even get to face off against our next subjects, another celebrated tag team who just entered the WWE for the first time, the Motor City Machine Guns. That's right.
Another the AJ, another one. I ride from TNA, who been all around, but didn't need NXT or anything. Although Alex Shea did have a quick run at NXT for a minute, the tag which Kushida for the Dusty Rose tag team tournament, but they got instant success as well too. They fit right in the main roster pretty good as well. So yeah,
like with the Lucha Brothers, the team made up of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin have long been great, one of the best tag teams of their generation, in fact. But for the vast majority of their career, they've never been in WWE, with the pair plying their craft in places like TNA and New Japan instead, the two promotions they'd collectively become 5-time tag team champions in. Of course, that wouldn't be the case with MCMG forever, though. No, it would be in the autumn of 2024 that they'd announced finally, after all these years, they'd signed on the dotted line with WWE. And since doing so, they've proven that even at this late stage in the game of their careers, they've still got plenty of juice left in the tank, enough to quickly get over with audiences and become WWE Tag Team Champions. Hell, they become Tag Team Champions in only their second match as roster members when they beat DIY on the October 25th, 2024 episode of SmackDown. With this just going to show how motivated they were to...
No. They beat Timeline and they beat the Bloodline. But
succeed in their new home. What's next for the Guns after that? Well, we're sure that as time goes on, they're going to settle into more of a player-coach role.
I could be wrong. They beat the Bloodline because the Bloodline beat DIY.
Inevitably hang up their boots for good and become backstage agents. But until that happens, Shelley and Sabin are going to continue to keep fans on their side by having some great tag team matches, helping to keep the division afloat in the process. Yes, it certainly is great to see that the Motor City Machine Guns have such success in the WWE, just as it is great to see the same thing happen for our next subject, Julia. Now, if you've been a follower of Joshi wrestling at all over the last few years, then Julia will be a name which has been familiar for a while, as over in Japan, the London-born star had very much become one of the most exciting stars there. And after gaining a reputation as one of the very best in the world, then WWE began to show interest in signing her up to a deal. When would that deal happen officially? Well, it would be in September of 2024 that the Beautiful Madness made her debut appearance on NXT in order to confront the brand's then women's champion Roxanne Perez. And in doing so, the Japanese star would be staking her claim at the gold right away. Sure, she might not have won it on her first attempt, but it wouldn't take long for her to build herself back up again, as it was in January of 2025, mere months after she'd first arrived, that Julia was finally able to dethrone Rox. That's right, it was quite a fast rise to say the least, and it wouldn't be the only thing she did quickly as it happened. No, after dropping that belt to Stephanie Vaquer in March, she'd move up to the main roster. How has Julia been faring on the main roster since her move there? Well, it's still early days yet, so it's hard to tell. But we've no doubt that she's going to get plenty of opportunities to shine, and she may even be holding a world title over on SmackDown before too much time has passed.
Yeah, I think she got entered to the Money in the Bank, right? Let me double check. I think she's on Money in the Bank this Saturday. Let me double check. Because I know her and Valkyrie got it as well, both on there. And let me double check. Wait a minute. Yeah, she's on the women's Money in the Bank. Yup.
Yes, by this time next year, the Dangerous Queen could be on top of the world all over again, just as she was in both Stardom and NXT before. She's certainly got the talent to do so should she be given the ball to run with, and she's not the only recent international addition to the WWE Women's roster who can say this about herself, as that statement also applies to our next subject, Stephanie Vacquero.
Stephanie B, the WWE, baby. I've been doing this little thing on my Facebook to give it a little Dickie V type of thing.
Yes, like with so many others we've looked at today, Stephanie Vacquero was already great before she made it to WWE. You only have to look at her work in places like CMLL. But since she's moved over to WWE in the summer of 2024, the Chilean star has been tasked with getting over with an all-new audience. Has she been able to do this? Absolutely. In fact, you could say that even more than the other high-profile signing of the NXT women's division during that time, Julia, Stephanie has been able to really connect with crowds. And that's exactly why, despite being on the developmental roster for less than a year, she can already call herself a one-time Women's North American champion and a one-time NXT women's champion. Hell, she was the first woman to hold both of these belts simultaneously. Quite an achievement, to say the least. But none of that would mean anything if fans didn't care about her. Right. And as can be seen in any of her matches, fans most certainly do care about the San Fernando native. That's right, at this point, we're just waiting for her to get called up to the main roster, as it'll be there she'll no doubt reach an...
This is maybe before that, because she has, and now she's gonna be in our first main roster pay-per-view this Saturday for Money in the Bank.
Another level again, regardless of whether it's Raw or SmackDown that she calls home. Either one will see her have a bevy of great opponents to go up against and multiple titles to chase. Want to see Stephanie Vacquero lock horns with Io Sky or have round 2 against Julia? And once she's on the main roster full-time, you can bet audiences there are going to love her just as much as they do down on NXT. Really, the biggest question is, will Booker T get the call-up along with her as she's become one of her biggest cheerleaders at this point? And if that happens, will it help Stephanie?
I think they're gonna wait till Trick and move up for him to go up with him.
To win a world title on one of those shows too before the decade is drawn to a close? We guess we'll just have to wait and see. But let's move away from the women for a moment and back over to the men again, as it's there we find our next subject, someone else who
like I said, other than the polls, and they say some people gonna say that he ain't it. Ricky's it, and they say he might be he added him dropping North. He's main roster bottom as well too.
Made a splash in All Elite Wrestling and who has since joined the NXT roster. Who are we talking about here? Why, Ricky Saints, of course. Yes, in recent months, Ricky found himself having to start from scratch again as part of the WWE roster. Luckily for him, though, he's charismatic enough that it hasn't taken long for him to start gaining some momentum in his new home. Momentum which has already seen him win the North American title from Shawn Spears. Where does he go next? Well, we expect to see the man formerly known as Ricky Starks make a play at becoming a world champion on the developmental brand. As for what occurs after that, well, he might not necessarily be a future world title contender or anything, but we can easily see Ricky Saints playing a key role on the main roster during the second half of the 2020s, perhaps as a close on-screen friend to his real-life buddy, the American Nightmare. And that could easily set him up for a United States title run or two. Or who knows, maybe he does reach the mountaintop. Whatever the case, it'll all have started for him with a quick success story on NXT, as he's already becoming one.
I ain't gonna lie, every way you do go main roster, and I know somebody can probably throw some comparatives to The Rock, because he's been called Baby Rock a couple times.
Of the key players in Shawn Michaels' arsenal, an impressive feat for a man who's still technically a newcomer there. Sure, you could argue it's helped him that he's a very experienced wrestler by now, and not a rookie as so many others down in NXT are. But what about our next subject, a young wrestler that has risen to the top in short order?
Yes.
That's right, it's time for us to talk about Javon Evans. That's right, anyone who knew of Javon Evans...
He had a good little impression on the SmackDown roster. Ethan Page spoiled it, but still, he had a good little impression of that.
Back when he was working in Deadlock Pro Wrestling under the name of Jay Malachi, will have been aware of his talents for a while.
Yes.
After all, before...
Shout out to BWJ and RC99 for letting me know. Put me on to this man. I've been a fan, and then him coming to NXT. Woo, yes.
He left there, he was able to win their world title. And ever since signing with NXT, Evans quickly made a splash once he joined the roster. How would he do this? Well, by having some standout matches against opponents such as Ilya Dragunov, Ethan Page, and even Randy Orton.
See, I ain't
Seriously,
gonna
so
do
over
it.
did he get so quickly, there were some who were calling for WWE to put the NXT World title on him before 2024 was out. And while this wouldn't happen, it looks like it's only a matter of time until it does as of 2025. Needless to say then, this has all been very impressive and very quick for the Greensboro native, as at the time of this video's recording, he's still only 20 years old, a baby by the standards of most.
Yep.
So he's still got many more years ahead of him to get even better. And that means that by the time he's in his 30s, he'll probably be on the main roster doing some very impressive stuff indeed. For the
match
time
with him
being,
and Reggie
though,
was pretty
NXT
nice.
viewers will be able to watch him continue to rise up the ranks and eventually win some gold. The only question is which will come first, the North American title or the NXT World title.
Could be North America this weekend. Who knows? I hope.
And once he's done with that, how quickly will he be called up to Raw or SmackDown?
Oh, yeah.
Sure, given his young age, it's not as if WWE have to rush with him or anything, but they no doubt still want to strike while the iron is hot. So who knows, you might even see Javon on the red brand or the blue brand within the next year or two, something which would be a nice capper to what has been a meteoric ascent already, an ascent which shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. Yes, when it comes down to it, Javon Evans is going to be one of those performers to keep a close eye on going forward if you're a WWE fan, but he's not the champion of NXT right now. No, right now that honor goes to our next subject, another fast riser in this system.
I'm glad they made him a baby face. It's anti-hero, which is I'm cool with it as well too. I mean, keep some baby face for fans feeling up, but also kind of giving the heel fans some still of excitement of watching because he's not a full-fledged face, as you know they're afraid of anybody being if they go on a baby face. So yeah.
Obafemi. Really though, one look at Obafemi should tell you exactly why he's risen so fast in NXT ever since formally joining that roster in 2023. Come on now, he's built like a house. That's right, with his gigantic physique, it's easy to understand Shawn Michaels' decision to push him to the moon. But it's not just HBK who's fallen in love with the Lagos native as of late. No, the NXT fan base has taken to him very quickly too, and this is exactly why he's already a former one-time North American champion, one-time winner of the Iron Survivor match, and current NXT World Champion. And what a dominating champion Oba has been as of late, far more dominating than you would expect from a 27-year-old rookie like him. Honestly, no matter who's been put up against him, he's knocked them down with relative ease. We're talking about names like Moose, Wes Lee, and the man he beat for the title, Trick Williams, just to name a few here, with there seeming to be no end in sight for his current reign of domination. The only thing that should be stopping it at this point is a main roster call-up, something which will no doubt happen before long. How will the Nigerian fare once he reaches Raw or SmackDown? We guess we'll just have to wait and see, but there's no reason why he shouldn't be a huge star. For now, though, we'll just have to be content to watch his rise, a rise which is going at light speed thus far, and one which doesn't show any signs of slowing down anytime soon.
He has a match against Jasper Troy from LFG. I feel like it's going to be a good match. I mean, I don't think he should drop the title to Jasper. That's too soon. I mean, but at the same time,
really, the next step for the big man before he even ever makes it to WWE's main roster could be to conquer a WWE affiliate like TNA as well. Either that or head over to Japan and do an excursion in Pro Wrestling Noah for a while. After all, this will only add to his case for being a lightning quick success as far as his time under a WWE contract is concerned. But then, when you're a man like him, or someone like all our other subjects today, why wait around waiting for your moment to come when there's no time to waste?
Yep, I'm gonna stop right here. Ooh, so yeah.
What idea was that?
Yeah, I'm trying to stop it. Anyway, so other than that, this was definitely some good picks for and they were definitely, whether you cheer or boo them, these definitely were some wrestlers who definitely had some instant success as well too. So hopefully don't hit a wall no time soon as well. You know, at times you have people have instant success and hit that wall, and then next thing you know, you hear they be on the chopper block down soon, like we have saw recently as well too. So yeah. Other than that, if you like more reaction to this, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T signing off. One love.